Welcome in everyone to B&T Sportstalk Show. I'm your boy T, and B is looks like he's incognito. I think we lost him. He's around near somewhere. Eventually he'll pop up from underneath that chair or from behind some wall. In any case, Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you for joining us this Sunday. A lot of stuff to cover in football, especially with the playoffs on the horizon. Playoff seeding is nearly set. We've got the Vikings and the Detroit Lions fighting for the top seeds, or excuse me, one wild card and one top seed in the NFC. Other than that, everything's set. So we'll definitely be going through that. We'll talk about our teams, the ones that matter at least, and then we'll get into the NBA. As there's a little bit of a shakeup in the NBA with the announcement of a particular player who no longer wants to be with his team, and a player that B has special interest in for his team. B, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Sorry, y'all had to go blow my nose. My allergies have been kicking my ass. Bro, it was hella cold yesterday, and then all of a sudden today it's like 70 degrees out here. It's like, Jesus criminy, make up your mind. So my allergies decided to flare up today. Go figure.
Yeah, man.
But other than that, doing good, man. Hey, we got the chance to go on the road yesterday. Yep. We were at the Bay Area or San Francisco Card and Collectible Show. We had a booth set up. We were trading cards. We were talking sports. We were making connections. We had a great time. I know you only could. You had a bit of an emergency to get to,
yeah.
But man, that was so much fun that we had yesterday. It was an early day. I think both you and I were there at 8 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you were there a little. Well, I mean, you had to get up early because you came from a little further.
Yeah.
But man, we had a good time, man. You'll probably see us a little more at these trade shows here, talking sports and meeting with people. Man, it was a great way to connect with people.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'll definitely be there a little longer this time. Had to leave a little early, but it was cool, man. A lot of people in there, lots of families, kids, everybody trying to get some cards, and it was pretty cool, man. So I look forward to doing that again. Pretty soon.
Yes, sir.
But I said it earlier. You enjoy what you're hearing, go ahead and hit the like button, the subscribe button, hit that notification bell as well. We appreciate it. Man, let's jump into it, man. A lot to get into. Generally, we like to start with our teams, but my team, ain't
nothing to talk about with your team.
I'm just going to smooth right past that, I think, because I just don't think there's anything else to talk about other than the possibility of Antonio Pierce getting fired on tomorrow morning. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. A lot of coaches are going to get a pink slip. New England already handed one out, I guess, right after the game today. I guess against.
They had no remorse for that. They were like, "See ya."
Yeah, Jared Mayo is gone. Not that he was going to help that team do anything special. They are definitely on the rebuild. The 49ers went in and played a pride game, but their season is also over. They've got a lot of things to discuss and think about. Every backup quarterback you could think of showed up today, from Garoppolo to whoever the heck the Kansas City Chiefs backup is, and so on and so forth. Actually, you know what? Let's start. I just want to shout out Bryce Young for making this morning's football entertaining. The games were not very interesting, although some of them were close. For instance, the Seahawks and Rams game was close for no real good reason. And then, but it was really fun to watch that young Panthers team play. They really look like if he can stay on the same trajectory, they're gonna have a really good season next year. So I'm looking forward to that. But man, anything before we jump into playoff seeding and who we got, what we think, anything kind of jumped out at you from some of the games today?
Mike Evans, 11 straight years with 1,000 yards receiving, ties Jerry Rice for the record for consecutive years in 1,000-yard receiving yards. And that was a cool moment because it was at the end of the game. He was at 995. The Tampa Bay had already claimed this game here. They had nothing much to show for it, but they made sure they knew what was at stake if he didn't get that. So I love how they went for a quick pass to make sure Mike Evans got those 5 yards. If I was the Saints, I would have tried to prevent that. Can you imagine tackling him for 4 yards and him stuck on 999 and not getting to 1,000 yards?
I mean,
that would have been nuts.
That would have been messed up, man.
That would have been messed up there. But They did get it there. So shout out to Mike Evans here. Anytime you are tied with Jerry Rice or you're in the conversation with him when it comes to a record, you have done something very, very elite because Jerry Rice set so many records that
Best the
were not
best.
meant to be broken.
Yeah.
He is part of best of the best there. So don't really, who knows what has in store for him here. Now, granted, the NFL did get an extra regular season game. Remember, there's 18 weeks instead of 17.
True.
Generally, he would have not caught Jerry Rice if that was the case. So, regardless, though, this is a big milestone for him. So, congratulations to Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Bryce Young and Michael Penix Jr. made sure that everyone knew that this league has got some young guns in them. We've already talked about C.J. Stroud, but these two, like you said, they put on a show
Yeah, it was a
today.
good game, yeah.
Bryce Young with 5 touchdowns. Thank God no fantasy football games were taking on because that would have sucked. And I like how the NFL does all of their games at once. So then you don't know what's going on in your division until the end of the game here. So the Buccaneers game ended right before the Panthers Falcons game ended. Falcons had no idea that they were out of the playoffs, but you still got really good football from that. It sucks because now we're not going to see Kirk Cousins in a Falcon uniform.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Again, maybe.
No,
We
that's
talked
Michael
about this.
Penix's team.
Didn't we talk about this before at the beginning of the season whenever they signed Kirk Cousins and how confusing it was that they went and drafted a top quarterback with their first pick? Seemed that they weren't necessarily sure on the Kirk Cousins experiment, and now it's official. I think at this point they kind of have to ride that out. I don't see Kirk Cousins starting next year, and he might be on the move again, man. With that contract, he might be on the move. Somebody give him a call if you need a QB.
Your Raiders need a quarterback.
Yeah, but another stopgap for what? What is it going to do for us, man? But a couple other notables. Jamar Chase with the Triple Crown this year.
Yep.
First in all all 3 receptions, yards, and touchdowns. So kudos to that gentleman. Again, having that extra game probably helps out a little. And then also your boy Aaron Rodgers throws his 500th touchdown today.
And guess who didn't catch it? His boyfriend. Devontae Adams wasn't even on the receiving end of that.
No, he wanted to catch that ball, but he didn't.
Oh yeah, he wanted to catch them balls, all right, but he didn't get a chance to.
So, yeah,
but he did get walloped on that little trick play that they did.
Yeah.
On the double reverse, he got absolutely annihilated on the throwback too.
Hey man, look, for a team like the Jets, man, this is absolutely dumpster fire. So I guess they got a chance to celebrate this for Aaron Rodgers. But other than that, I mean, that wasn't very. Who cares, man? That team is absolute trash and or garbage. But
speaking of trash.
Yeah.
Looks like some teams are going to be taking the trash out on Monday.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some teams that are going to be firing coaches. Although, like you said,
you talked about the Raiders already. There's some uncertainty. I don't know if it'll actually happen, but there hasn't been any concrete word from the franchise that they are for sure going to ride with AP. There will be some notable assistant coaches coming out of this upcoming playoffs for sure. Detroit has 2, both on the defensive and offensive side. So there are going to be some folks that are going to be sought after. So be curious to see who goes. So I'm going to say, I'll start with the Raiders. I thought Antonio Pierce has done it. He's made some mistakes as a young head coach along the way, but this is his first time doing it. So we'll see if the Raiders give him grace. I thought it was a mistake to start what is his name? Gardner Minshew over AOC. I thought AOC should have been the starter from the beginning, considering how good he played at the end of the year last year. Some of the stuff isn't his fault. I thought the team should have traded Devontae Adams before the season begun. I thought that would have maybe gave them a better chance at a better year. And then we'll see. I don't know if he'll be on the team or not. Like I said, if the Raiders start looking other directions, if you start hearing Deion Sanders chat going on, all this other garbage, you may see the Raiders. They may fire another head coach. I mean, they're not. That's traditionally what happens around those parts.
I think you hold on to AP. You give him 1 year.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
But this is the only year that he's got left to really turn something around for the Raiders there. So I don't think they're going to fire him just yet. I think that seat will be extremely hot to start of next season.
Yeah.
And If it doesn't work out, you may see him fired mid-season or at the end of next year. So basically, what they need to finish over 500 for him to keep his job. Uh, in that there, the other team I see letting go of their coach, I think the Dallas Cowboys get rid of Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it happens.
I could see that. I could see that. I'm not sure who they will replace him with, but the Cowboys have been good about finding head coaches we don't really necessarily need to know and put them out there. But so I'll be curious to see what happens if they do fire him. One thing I will say, the Cowboys play surprisingly competitively over the past few weeks, considering that they lost most of their
They had
star
nothing to play
players.
for.
Yeah,
They had nothing to play for.
yeah, no, they had nothing to play for, which is true. But I think it kind of points to the fact that you've got some divas in the room you got to figure out.
Yeah,
You got Prescott, you got CeeDee Lamb. These two guys are supposed to be the most important cornerstones of your offense, and it doesn't appear that they're on the same page. And I think that's the problem that you have to solve. So I'll be curious to see. Maybe they do fire McCarthy. McCarthy hasn't really done anything with the Cowboys, but then realistically, nobody has done anything with the Cowboys since what uh
the guy's on TV
yeah,
now.
exactly. We got to go way back. It's
Is it
been
Garrett? I think it's Garrett.
yeah, yeah. He didn't
Something
really
like that.
he didn't really win any playoff games either. So you have to go farther back than that. So yeah, it'd be curious to see, but yeah, I think that could definitely happen. If they did, if the Cowboys let him go, because much like the Raiders, you have the owner pulling a lot of the strings. And traditionally when that happens, you get some weird stuff
Never a
happening.
good thing. Never a good thing.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, I expect to
Oh
fire
man,
Doug Peterson. That's an automatic.
that's
Um, I expect him to see his papers tomorrow. Um,
it.
Here's one that will kind of. Oh, Brian DeBole from for the
Oh,
New York
Dabo.
Giants.
Yeah.
He got to get fired, man. How does he still have a job?
Well, I love how the brass for the Giants got together and thought that, well, we can't win games if all we can do is hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley, proceed to trade him, and watch Philly do the same thing this year. So I think the franchise as a whole needs to take a little bit of a punch for that one, because they made the mistake of undervaluing Saquon Barkley and overvaluing Dave Jones. So and that's kind of a franchise thing. They just made an egregious mistake,
I would say so.
and so yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if he got fired. Somebody's got to be the scapegoat. They got to figure out their quarterback situation, and they've got some talent over there. I mean, Neighbors is a good wide receiver, but they definitely are going to have to go back into rebuild mode after what happened at the quarterback position this year.
Who else is there? Jeff Ulbrich, coach of the New York Jets. You think he's getting fired tomorrow?
Yeah, well, I think he was an interim anyway, right? So
Oh
I
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think
He loses
I don't think
stuff.
he really has a real shot at anything. I think they come in and they look to bring in a new coach. The real question is for the Jets is how much longer do they want to ride the Aaron Rodgers train? Do they want to really hitch their franchise to this guy for another year, or do they want to cut ties now and just start this thing all over again? Let's be honest, the Jets are a dumpster fire. They've been for a while. They've had top five quarterback pick after top five quarterback pick and have literally never been able to create anything with any of those picks. Never. From Zach Wilson to Sam Darnold to Geno Smith to the list goes on and on. They have not been able to get it done. So I think the Jets are garbage regardless. But yeah, their current interim coach probably ain't going to be the guy next year.
Well, speaking of the New York Jets, there is a lot of rumors that this may have been Aaron Rodgers' final game, either as a New York Jet or in the NFL as a whole. And I'm going to tell you this, me personally, I think this should be his final game ever. You're it's okay to say I'm done, and he needs to say it at this point here because
Yeah.
we're all done with him. Um, he had a bad year last year. What was it? He had the injury first 4 games into the season, or first
Yeah,
four snaps
yeah,
into the season.
exactly.
You know, you tear your Achilles at his age, it's very hard to come back from that.
Yep.
You're not, and especially in that kind of sport, it's not a good, it's just not healthy in that way there. And then you just had a abysmal season this year. Got your coach fired. All right. I don't think it was solid. That was the problem,
GM
honestly.
GM
You
gone
got your
too.
GM fired. I think it was all Aaron Rodgers' fault here. And to put blame on other people besides yourself, they go out and get Devontae Adams, and you still suck, dude. This is it. Like, just go home, man. Like, you had an okay career. Go home. And people can argue with me about that all the time. He hasn't done much since he won one Super Bowl. All
No.
right. He has not done anything besides be a disappointment in the playoffs. All right. Have only good regular season games and then completely fall off right after that. He was not that great of a quarterback. I will say that personally. If we rank quarterbacks off of what we rank them off of, he does not fall near any one of those categories. He is well below that.
Yeah, well, I'll put it to you like this. I mean, he's going to be known for some of the numbers that he puts up. For sure, he was an incredible talent. We're not going to take that away from him. But, you know, he had one moment where he was the best quarterback in the league, and that moment faded quickly. Unfortunately, he also played in a time where you were getting towards the end of Peyton Manning's career with his two Super Bowls with the Broncos. Then, of course, you had none other than Tom Brady still doing his thing. And then Patrick Mahomes becomes better than Aaron Rodgers in 2 years. And I don't mean in the 2 years in the future. I mean the first 2 years he started.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's going to kind of overshadow a lot of what we think of Aaron Rodgers as we kind of take a step back and look at his career. We'll definitely say that he's an incredible talent, but we will not look at him as being the best of the class that he played in. I don't even know if I could put him above Drew Brees. There's so many other guys that won one Super Bowl and had similar numbers. So we'll see.
Yeah, it we'll see what happens here. I wouldn't be shocked if he announced his retirement.
He should.
Did you watch his Netflix special?
No, I didn't watch that, man.
Good, don't. It's
I didn't
boring
watch
as
that.
hell. All of a sudden the guy becomes some sort of like, I wouldn't call him a hippie, but you get my kind of where I'm going with
Yeah, yeah. What's
on
he?
this one here. Dude, it was a waste of my time on Netflix. They should just delete that documentary right away here. Um, let's see what else. What else we got? What else to end the season here? I guess we can put a cap on the Niners season because they got a lot to respond to this year on what they're going to do with a lot of contracts. We all know about the Brock Purdy situation, but they have some free agents that need to get paid, and you ain't gonna be able to pay them a lot of money because you got to pay your quarterback here.
Yeah, that's gonna be an
Um,
issue for sure.
let's start with the top of the list. Charvarius Ward, cornerback, and Dre Greenlaw, linebacker, all due to be unrestricted free agents at the end of this season here. Um, I think your priority is Dre Greenlaw as a linebacker. He had a bad injury. Um, plays one game and out tackles Devondre Campbell, who's going to be cut because he quit.
Yeah.
You gotta keep him with Fred Warner when they're together. Probably the best linebacking tandem in the NFL. Um, on top of that, you have your backup quarterbacks Brandon Allen and Joshua Dobbs, also set to be unrestricted. John Feliciano, your offensive line. Let's see who else are we here with. Jesus criminy, Talanoa Hufunga and Elijah Mitchell amongst all 12 of the unrestricted free agents. If you're looking at the Niners, what is your priority with your 12 unrestricted free agents before you attend to Brock Purdy?
Dude, I think you almost have to take the initiative and get Brock Purdy out of the way first. I don't think you want to wait around on the quarterback thing the way the Cowboys did, or well, that was for an
They,
extension,
they
but
waited all the way until the
yeah,
first game of the
that was an
year.
extension. But you get the idea. You don't want to, or the same thing they did with CeeDee Lamb, where you're waiting throughout the entire off season and the training camp and all this to try to get guys signed. If I'm the 49ers, make those commitments early, get the big guy squared away so that you can make realistic offers to the folks behind him. Um, because I don't see a scenario where you try to work out all these other contracts and then try to go to Brock Purdy afterwards. I think you got to get that done quick and then move on and yeah, you need to try to keep about you definitely your vets. You talked about Greenlaw and guys that are very important to the defensive side of the ball. I don't think they need to change their identity more, but I think they need to be aggressive on the offensive end and how they want to shape it going forward. They did show some promise. You had an okay, first season with Purcell, who I thought was a nice surprise. Um, you know,
I mean, damn near almost died on the
yeah,
team.
for real. Seriously, it's crazy in San Francisco.
Yep.
So I think that you've got something going there. Debo has been kind of on the decline as of late. I think you have to kind of look hard at that as players get older and decide what other players can you put in that can fit that mold. If you don't find it, then at least draft it and see if you can get someone a little bit more exuberant in those particular spots. So yeah, I think the 49ers are good if they can be healthy. But again, they've got to find a way to shore up that offense a little bit. This was kind of a weird year with all the injuries, so hopefully it's
Yeah.
just a fluke.
Yep. And if they decide to get rid of their coach, I can tell you they're going to set themselves back another 5 years. So if you're the
I can't do
Niners,
that.
you hold on to Kyle Shanahan, wait for all your weapons to get back. You make one last run at it. This next year should be your final run. This will be your version of the last dance with everybody here. So you need to give it a shot because I think after that, then it kind of just falls apart after next year. So we can finally put a bow on the San Francisco 49ers here, finishing last place in the NFC West.
Dang,
Um,
that's rough.
sucks.
That's rough. That
We're
is
ready to talk
rough.
some playoff football because this one game, although it's going on, really doesn't matter because we all know where they're going to go. Let's talk playoffs.
All right, so we got. I mean, this is going to be exciting. Got to be honest with you. So here's the lineup. We'll start with the AFC. Did you want to hit up? You want to look at the seeding, or we want to just hit the matchups coming for
Let's
Saturday?
hit the matchups, man. Let's hit the matchups.
So let me find them.
I got them for you right here. Your 1 o'clock game on Saturday, January 11th, is the Chargers going to Houston to take on the Texans here. This is a really good matchup. Justin Herbert in the playoffs turned the season around.
Yeah.
The last time we all saw Justin Herbert in the playoffs, they blew a lead. I think it's a little different with Harbaugh in there. But what do you like in this matchup besides the quarterback matchup between C.J. Stroud and Justin Herbert?
Man, I don't know. The Chargers have been, I mean, both of these teams have kind of been up and down, although they both played fairly well, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I expect the Texans to be a little bit better this year, honestly, but they also suffered some injuries on, the offensive side of the ball with Diggs going, obviously being done for the season. So that they also lost Dale as well. So
Well, they lost Tank Dell for quite a while,
yeah,
including next year.
yeah. So the fact that they lost those two guys, honestly, I think it puts them in a hole. The Chargers have a pretty good defense, and if they don't do anything, they're going to run the ball. So I think I'm kind of leaning towards the Chargers on this one. The Texans, again, missing two really good, well, three really, two good targets. And I don't know if they're going to have enough in order to get over the Chargers defense. The Chargers are going to run the ball. Herbert only needs to make enough plays to get it done. And I'm actually gonna. I think the Chargers can upset the Texans at home. I just don't know if the Texans offensively are going to have enough.
Yeah, I like the Chargers in this matchup as well. But here's the other thing too. Jim Harbaugh in his first year, anywhere he's gone, has made a deep playoff run. He did that with the 49ers, took him to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Obviously it's going to be a little tougher in the AFC with the teams that you're going to have in these playoffs here. But I do like it here. The only thing that concerns me is the lack of experience in the playoffs for the Chargers here.
Yeah.
A lot of the teams or a lot of the players from that team 2 years ago, was it last year? It was last year they blew that giant. Was it last year that they blew the lead?
I think so. Yeah. Hold on, not to look.
I think it was a year or the year before. Those players aren't there no more. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with this team here. But I think they can win on the road. They're one of those teams who stayed a little consistent through the year, just had some tough breaks. Houston just showed that they were bad in a couple of games here.
Yeah.
So I do expect the Chargers to win this one under Jim Harbaugh here. So let's take them on that.
Yeah. Just to point that out, the game you're talking about was a wild card game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, where they lost by 1 point, 30-31. So
they were up by 1,000,000 points.
Yeah, they coughed it up. The second game, though, I don't know how interesting this was going to be either, man. I know the Ravens have some issues sometimes with consistency, but the Ravens soundly beat the Steelers during the season. I don't, the Steelers have not looked very good at all, in my opinion, in the last few games of the week. They've been kind of on a decline. Uh, Defense just hasn't done enough to hold down the fort. Offensively, they've looked kind of anemic. What was that? Pickens dropped every ball that was thrown to him in the last game they played, and they just have not looked very good. So I think the Ravens got the leg up here playing at home. You got Jackson who should be coming in hot, um, but there's also that ounce of doubt with the Ravens. If they cannot commit turnovers, I think they beat the Steelers going away, man.
So let me just say this here: one, the Steelers beat the Ravens at home the first time around when they
The
played
first
each other.
game, first game, second game they got clowned.
Yeah, but here's my problem with the NFL right now. I'm gonna get this off my chest. The Ravens have played either a Saturday or a Wednesday game since the 21st of December. They have not played a Sunday game. And guess what time they're playing Saturday? 5:30.
Yeah,
Guess what on what network? Amazon
Prime
Prime. This
baby.
is the biggest flex I have ever seen from the NFL, that you have one of your biggest rivalries in all of the NFL playing on a goddamn app. They're playing on Amazon Prime. Like, you know how frustrating that is, just to as an NFL fan, that you have to watch that. Like,
Yeah,
you can't even watch them on CBS or on Fox. Hell, even NBC. You have to go to Amazon Prime. Hey, since you're there, make sure you order a package too while you're watching the game here.
I think that's the
Um,
idea.
I don't, I don't, I
That's
don't
the
get,
plan, man.
I don't get how this team hasn't played a Sunday game since the 15th. December 15th was the last time that the Ravens played on a Sunday. Football is on Sunday. It is not on Wednesday. It is not on Saturday. This is on Sunday. And it's not even on Monday for the playoffs, because there's a playoff game on Monday night. That is ridiculous here. In any case, I think they take care of the Steelers just fine. I got
That's
that
fine.
right out of my system.
All
I
right.
think they take care of the Steelers here. It's the defense really showed a lot over the last few weeks here. Um, they limped into the bye week. Thank God that bye week was just 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Um, and we'll see what Lamar Jackson comes out. I don't have any high hopes just yet. I am excited for the playoffs, but we all know Lamar Jackson's track record, which is can't get out of the divisional round. We did it last year.
Yeah.
Um, but couldn't close the door after that. So we'll see what Lamar comes out of. Obviously, it's a little different now with Derrick Henry. The real concerning thing is Zay Flowers did go out yesterday
Yeah,
with a
he
knee
did.
injury. So we will check to see what's going to happen here with his injury going forward here. Rashad Bateman has been a really good uh, receiver for him this year as well. The tight ends, Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews, really good job with sharing the playing time this year. Lamar did a great job making sure that both of them saw the ball equally, and stepped up at the right time. The one thing I do want to see come Saturday is I need Lamar to use his legs a little more when the pocket breaks down, or when that lane opens up. I know he's had a great year passing, only 4 interceptions on the year. It doesn't really feel like that. I feel like he's thrown a lot more, but
Dude, he's
this
been clean as a whistle, man.
this is
He's
going to be the weekend where he's going to have to maybe run just a little bit more here to kind of open up that passing game a little bit. So we'll see here, but I mean, look, I'm excited for playoff football, but it's his playoff record doesn't really make it too exciting. It makes you a little nervous as a Baltimore Ravens fan.
Yeah, I think the Ravens get through this part of it. It'll be the next round where you can start sweating a little bit, B. Like,
I'm already sweating. What do you mean?
let's jump into Sunday's games. We got an interesting matchup, although this game probably might be over early. We'll see. We've got the Broncos taking on the Bills. The Buffalo Bills have been riding a pretty darn good season, an unexpectedly great season, really. Josh Allen has come out and maybe the MVP of the season. Of course, Lamar Jackson is also in that conversation as well. I heard people trying to add Joe Burrow in. That ain't happening. Unfortunately, they did not make the playoffs, so it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, but did you see his stats?
Yeah, Burrow's killing it, man.
Oh
But if
God.
you do that well and you don't make the playoffs, I mean, they got some soul searching to do on the defensive side of the ball. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's true
Um,
too.
so the Broncos, Bo Nix, first season comes out, 35-year-old rookie. I'm joking, he's not that old, but he looks that old. He came out, he really put a stamp on the season and showed that he is the man. He is the leader of that offense, and really impressed with what the Broncos were able to do throughout the season in a very competitive division, mind you, because the AFC West is not for the meek in heart, with KC being at the top, the Chargers also making the playoffs. The AFC West has sent 3 teams into the
Yeah.
playoffs this year. So for them to be in that level of competition and find their way in, I think it's kudos to Sean Payton and Bo Nix for what he was able to do. That being said, the Bills have been in this position before. They've been to the playoffs before, but they, like the Ravens, have had trouble getting over the hump. I think they're going to come in on fire. I think this is a game where they want to show that, damn it, we deserve to be here. I didn't just show up and play that great, meaning Josh Allen, just to lose in the first round. And I think they have some Super Bowl, aspirations. So they are going to come out strong. The Bills are definitely going to take this game at home against the Broncos.
Yeah, I agree. The Bills are on a tear right now. So I still think they may be the best team in the AFC, even though records don't show it.
Yeah.
They've been a level of consistency all year. They lost to the Ravens. They had a shootout with the Detroit Lions. That was fun to watch.
Yeah.
In that game there. But I think Denver is going to put up a fight. It's not going to be a blowout. They have nothing to lose. All right, they're going to go into an unfamiliar territory to say the least. I really think they put up a good fight against the Buffalo Bills. I'm not saying that they're going to win this game, but I believe it's going to be closer than a lot of people really think it is. And I think Bo Nix may even have one of those games that helps him potentially win Rookie of the Year. Right now, Jaden Daniels is a clear-cut favorite for Rookie of the Year, but I think Bo Nix is going to have a say. If his team can pull off a win in Buffalo, what's not to say that Bo Nix doesn't deserve Rookie of the Year, especially when he kind of saved Denver's season as soon as he took over because he wasn't the starter initially. He came in about 4 or 5 games in,
Yeah.
and took over the starting role, and he has not watched it through. And you mentioned Sean Payton. That you can't give the man enough credit for sticking with Bo Nix and riding it out. Even through those tough times, he just trusted his quarterback, and it's worked out because now they're in the postseason here. Unfortunately, they got to see the Buffalo Bills in Orchard Park, New York. People will be putting themselves through tables, smashing beer cans over their head, jumping into fire pits. Y'all thought Philly fans were wild. I think Buffalo is close to being number 1 when it comes to it there.
Might get hit with a chair.
Or a snowball.
Yeah,
one of the two.
One of the two. Yeah, man. Well, total agreement on that. I think we both got the Bills taking that game. The next one, all right. Next game on Sunday is the Packers and the Eagles. So this could be an interesting matchup. I must say, Green Bay is also one of those teams that can be very inconsistent. Saquon Barkley has been a beast this year, and Hurts not so much, but has done enough to get them through. So I'm going to go with the Eagles on this. I think the Eagles defense kind of perked up, especially towards the end of the season. With the beginning of the season, we were a little unsure about how good the Eagles would be. They ended up being 14-3 after all the talk. They got the job done. Saquon Barkley has been a huge, huge addition to their offense, and I think will continue to be against the Green Bay Packers, who have a good team, but I don't know. They're very up and down, especially on the defensive end. Jordan Love is as much as I want to commit to him as being a great quarterback, hasn't really shown that on a week-to-week basis.
I'm going to take Green Bay on this one.
Oh man.
Here's the reason why. Last year it took the Niners the last 2 minutes to beat the Green Bay Packers at home. Um, the Packers had a little more of an expectation this year. They lived up to the expectation. They just played in a division that has two 14-win teams in their division. I think there's a little bit of a bad taste on how last season ended, knowing that they were just one play away from making the NFC Championship game. I think that carries on into this year, and I think they get past it. Um, Philly's not really dealing with any injuries here, but I don't see them winning in the game here. Yeah, you got Saquon, you got Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown. The list goes on here, but you got a team going into Philadelphia, but not a lot of high expectations as some people would see it. I think Green Bay goes in and beats the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, so we got our first upset: the Packers beating the Eagles at home. I guess it's not out of the realm of possibilities, but again, I just feel like the Eagles' defense and the combination of that and their run game will help them edge out the Packers. But we will see. Um, this last game, this would go either way. The Commanders are taking on the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, you know, they started today's game a little skittish against a New Orleans team that really didn't have anything to play for, but they managed to squeak it out. The Commanders, kind of in the same ballpark against the Dallas Cowboys. The Commanders, as great as Jaden Daniels has been, they definitely have kind of had their moments where you kind of wonder what the heck is going on. The Bucks are one of those teams that do scare me because they already have some veterans on that squad. Baker Mayfield is one of those guys who can go crazy or throw 5 interceptions. It depends on what the week is looking like,
Kind of what he's feeling that day.
but when he's on, he is a darn good quarterback, and very capable. The Commanders are still young, and this is their first taste of the playoffs. So I think these games can go either way. I'm gonna put my money on the Buccaneers. I thought the Buccaneers came into
Yeah.
the playoffs last year with the same kind of energy, and they kind of surprised some folks and got out of that first round game. I think it was against the Rams. They beat the Rams I believe they
Yeah.
beat the Rams in the first round last year. So
No, it wasn't the
who
Rams.
was it? Who did they get
It
last
was
year?
the Eagles. It was the
They
Eagles.
beat the Eagles. That's right. Excuse me, Rams.
That's why the Packers are going to beat the
I'm
Eagles.
telling you, they beat the Eagles in the first round last year, and so they're one of those teams who can really sneak up on you. And if you don't take them serious real quick, they'll put up 30 on you quick. So
Yeah, they will.
I think the Commanders need to really be on their p's and q's. If the Commanders come out there and they're looking a little wet behind the ears, it might be night night. It might be night night.
I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this one as well. Um, they got Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield. You got Bucky Irving.
Yep.
Yeah. You also have Rashad White. Uh, I like the Buccaneers in this one. Washington had a great regular season here, highlighted by Jaden Daniels here. But you going on the road, first game in the playoffs here. I mean, he did play some really big games in LSU. This is gonna be a little different for you, bud. I don't see them going down there into Tampa Bay and beating them. I'm gonna take the Buccaneers in this first one as well, to win that wild card game.
All right. We both got the same team. Both got the Bucks moving forward. And where the heck's the Monday night games? I'm trying to find them or find it. Oh, there it is. So it's whoever wins this game
No, whoever
against.
loses
Excuse
that
me.
game.
Whoever loses this game against the Rams. So that should be interesting. The Rams have been an interesting team, man. I don't know about the Rams. I think whoever ends up playing the Rams are going to beat the Rams, whether it be the Vikings or the Detroit Lions. I just don't see the Rams coming out of this thing. They've been winning by the skin of their teeth. And to be honest with you, their division has been so bad that they kind of fell into the division title there. To be honest with you,
I hate the fact that a 14-win team is going to have to play a game on the road in the playoffs
yeah,
to a division winner. This is where the NFL needs to fix their seeding process here, because I don't like that your division winners are rewarded a home game when they're 10-7.
right.
How is that possible here? Either Minnesota or Detroit should be hosting this game. I think they really need to go off of record. But in any case, you're right. Whoever comes out of this game, out of the Sunday night game, is going to hand a loss to the Rams because both these teams have a lot of firepower. I just don't see the Rams really staying in the game with them. You know, even with their offense being as good with Puka Nakua, Cooper Kupp, is it Kyler Anderson? I can't remember the running backs. It's Anderson. It's Anderson.
Anderson.
Or is it Williams?
Which we're talking about the Rams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was Williams. So I'll check it. I'll check it out.
And with Matthew Stafford as well. The problem is you're playing. You're going to be playing a team that also plays on turf and it's inside. So I think whoever loses this game should be able to handle the Los Angeles Rams fairly quickly here. But let me tell you, if they had redone the seedings based off of record, you would have either Detroit and Minnesota with the Philly Eagles at 14 wins. As of right now, your second best team would be the fourth best team would be the Washington Commanders with 12 wins, the Green Bay Packers with 11, and then LA, Tampa Bay, and Seattle round out the bottom with 10 wins each. How do you feel about the way the NFL does their playoff structure, where it's based off of winning your division compared to your record?
Yeah, well, I think it's weighted. Everything's weighted by division within the NFL, and the NFL does use that a lot in order to create rivalries and things like that, which are really cool. I guess the real question is when they get to the playoff seeding. And the question really is should the winner of the division automatically be guaranteed a spot, especially given some of the competition that we've seen this particular year, where you've got, as we just mentioned, the Minnesota Vikings or the Lions, whoever loses this game, is going to be miles better than anybody in the NFC South. So, I think they should consider like the NBA style playoff seeding, where it really doesn't matter what division you're in, Pacific or wherever on the West versus the East. We're just taking the seeding one through whatever. What is it?
One through seven. One through seven,
and we're gonna roll. We're gonna roll the dice on that. So I think they should definitely consider that. Now, being the winner of your division could be considered somehow like a tiebreaker as far as your divisional record or whatever, if there are some ties. But I think they should consider that, because like you said, you go all season, you're the Vikings, you're an extremely good team. You should be hosting a playoff game because you've earned it. Versus the Bucks and the Rams. The Rams, like I said, the Rams slipped and fell into winning that division. The Seahawks had the division by the throat and gave it away. Arizona had the division lead a little over halfway through the season, gave it away. The 49ers, at one point was tied, but then also gave it away. Nobody in that division did anything to earn or win that slot. The Rams kind of fell into it. Their offense has been ho-hum, to be quite honest with you. Defense has been impressive, but it doesn't make sense. They probably wouldn't even made the playoffs, to be honest with you. I haven't looked at the records. Maybe you're looking at them. Would they have even made the playoffs?
Yeah, they still would have made the playoffs.
Okay, so that, I think that makes it better. They still make the playoffs. They just come in at a lower seed, and they end up as playing at one of the route as a wild card team. So yeah, I think the NFL should take a close look at that, because it doesn't make sense to have a advantage. Whenever you don't have the better record, you weren't the better team.
Yeah, and the AFC is just about accurate. The only thing that need to swap are the Texans and the Chargers. Chargers had 11 wins. Texans had 10. Yeah. So you swap that, and then you have the Texans, Steelers, and the Broncos all with 10 wins each. Kansas City with 15, Buffalo with 13, Baltimore with 12, and the Chargers with 11 would be your top four teams that get a at least would host a game here. And that's how you have to make it earn, is you have to earn your right to host a game, not just win your division here. Because we've seen in the past, we've seen the NFC South send an 8-8 team into the playoffs,
AFC
and have
South as well has had that problem.
And you have a team from either the West or the East with with a double-digit win record, and they have to go on the road.
Yeah.
Like it cannot work like that. It doesn't make it worth it. Now tonight it's exciting, right?
Yeah.
The winner tonight will get the chance to be the number one seed, but that loser drops all the way down and has to go on the road, and they have to stay on the road the entire time to into the playoffs. That's where this is wrong.
Yeah. I go no,
So
I completely agree with that. It doesn't make any sense at all, and they should find a way to change that so that it's not weighted so heavily that you've won your division.
yeah, and then on top of that, what also doesn't make sense is playing Monday night.
Yeah, the NFL has been
They got to
on
stop this shit, man.
NFL has been on a hostile takeover this year, especially towards the end of the season. You know, rather it be the Christmas situation where you had, a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, then Wednesday, then Saturday, then Sunday game. The NFL has been trying its best to put as many games on as many nights as possible. And so yeah, I don't know why football can't just be on Sundays and Mondays. We added the Thursday, and it almost appears with the addition of Prime and Netflix that we're going to start seeing more of these additional games sprinkled throughout the entire season. So,
I
I
don't
mean,
get it either.
the
No,
NFL,
okay,
it's
so
crazy.
during the playoffs, I could see Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah,
I got no problem with that because college football doesn't own any rights here. But damn, man, Monday night playoffs, like that doesn't sound right. Monday night football during the regular season sounds amazing. Monday
yeah,
night
yeah. It
playoffs,
does
and then
not.
you're gonna ask that team to turn around on such a short week to either play on Saturday and Sunday. Like,
Yeah,
come on,
it doesn't make
come
any
on.
sense. We're all used to the 3 game a day. Remember, it used to be 3 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday. So for some oddball
Yeah,
reason, it's 2 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday, and one on Monday. Again, the NFL is trying to spread it out and add an additional day to the roster. I just I don't completely understand it. I guess it's just the NFL being greedy, where they want to just get as many, you know, channels and subscribe, what do you call that, streaming services involved as they can, because you got Peacock on Sunday night, you got Prime on Saturday night,
that's still bullshit.
and then you got ESPN on Monday night. I think it's still ESPN.
Well,
Um,
ESPN, ABC is same
ABC,
network.
got it. Okay, so it just seems like they're really just trying to fill their pockets here from
Yep,
these TV companies more than it is trying to give the fans a positive experience.
I would say so. So, oh well. Thanks, NFL.
Yeah, well, no thanks. Cashing checks. That's all they're doing.
I don't. That thanks was fake, by the way. If you didn't understand that.
Sarcasm. um, yeah, man. So I think we've got the picks in the book for the NFL. Did you want to jump into some light NBA news?
Yeah, let's talk about
Let's
Jimmy
talk about it.
Butler and that nonsense there. Why don't you take us into that?
Yeah, so Jimmy Butler, for those who don't know, does not want to play for the Miami Heat anymore. He has demanded a trade, wants to go somewhere else, has lost his love for basketball, and wants to pick his ball up and go elsewhere. Man, and Pat Riley's response was to suspend him for 7 games. So interestingly enough, but it definitely shakes up the league a little bit. Jimmy Butler has been an all-star. He's a player when healthy that can contribute on both sides of the ball. Has played in the finals multiple times over the past 5 or 6 years, and
Yep.
yeah, he's one of those guys that can be a huge addition to a roster that's looking to make a deep playoff run this year. Man, I was surprised that a guy like Jimmy Butler would outright request a trade. So that lets you know right there that this thing is not. It's not going to end well. It's not good at all in this situation with the Heat. The Heat have not been playing well either. So the real question is, where is he going? That's what we really
Golden
want to
State
know.
Warriors.
Where is he going? Who can he play for? And what does that look like?
I'm
Does
going to tell
can
you right
he
now,
can he flip the tables
Warriors
for a
lost
chip?
Jonathan Kaminga. The Warriors lost Jonathan Kaminga for the next 3 weeks with a high ankle sprain. You need someone to fill that role.
Yeah, but he will be doing a whole lot more than filling a role. He will be starting. Kaminga would come back and either have to play beside him or come off the bench, depending upon who
He's
gets
already come.
traded.
He's
Who
already
this year?
coming off the bench, so
Okay.
might as well.
Yeah,
I
but
here's my package to this.
yeah.
We get Jimmy Butler. The Heat get Andrew Wiggins, Brandon Pajemski. I would say a couple second round draft picks. What else? I don't know. I might even package Kaminga in there.
The Heat won a
Th-
first for sure, man. You got to
oh,
give up a first.
okay, go ahead. Have your first round
You
pick.
got to give up a first.
We'll take it.
So
I think you have to draw the line there, though, and the only reason why is because Jimmy Butler's due for a max starting next year, and at the age of 34, do the Warriors want to give someone like that a max? And if you ask Klay Thompson that question, the answer was no. So that's going to be a pretty big discussion there towards if they do that. So keep that in mind when you are looking to shop for Jimmy Butler. You got to pay him next year. This is a rental for the rest of the year here.
it is. It definitely is. The thing is, though, let's start with the preferred list of Heat that's been put out there in the news. So here are the teams: the Dallas Mavericks, the Golden State Warriors, and the Phoenix Suns. These are some teams that have been put out there as teams that supposedly, of course, remember this. I'll put that in quotations. We don't know how true all this stuff really is, but these are the teams that have a maybe a better shot than others. Will say. So the Warriors are in the mix for sure, and I think that adding Jimmy Butler to the Warriors roster will definitely give them some defensive depth and will give them an additional shooter and a guy that can create his own shot that they've kind of been lacking outside of Steph Curry. We've seen Kaminga kind of rise to the occasion a few times, but we've also seen Wiggins just completely fall off the face of the earth. So there hasn't been really any consistency with that roster, and I think Jimmy Butler can definitely do that. The Warriors cannot, under any circumstances, allow for, or the league maybe, you can't allow for the Dallas Mavericks to somehow finagle, and Cuban's good at this, to allow them to finagle Jimmy Butler and add him to their roster. That cannot happen. We cannot have another three-headed monster with Luka and Kyrie and Jimmy Butler. And I don't even if they get Jimmy Butler, I don't even know if Klay is still on the roster at that point.
I think you have to give up Klay in order to make room for Butler.
To me, that sounds like a 3-team trade where Klay ends up going somewhere else.
He comes back to the Warriors. He comes back to the Warriors.
Wow, that'd be hilarious. I doubt that. And then the last team on this list, the Phoenix Suns. Now, to me, this is laughable. The Suns have been gobbling up stars. I'm going to stop there. They have been taking big name players and adding them to this roster like nobody's business, and it has not worked. They are 15-18 or 15-19 or something like that. They are under 500. They've got KD, Devin Booker, who's been injured, and then you've got Bradley Beal, who has went from being an all-star to being a no-name bench player, not bench player, but just another roster guy that we really honestly forget about, is on that team. And so the idea of them adding somebody without trading someone away is ridiculous. They would definitely have to trade one of those players away to the Heat. And I think that might be the situation where Pat Riley might be most interested, where they could take a guy like a Bradley Beal, and maybe trade Bradley Beal to the Heat in exchange for Jimmy Butler. I think might be ideal for the Heat if they still want to compete for this season. Otherwise, it's going to be a blow that thing up and give me as much of draft capital and young talent as you can offer me, which the Phoenix Suns do not have. So these are very specific scenarios in my mind, which Pat Riley has to be the one driving that ship. He either wants to gut it, start over, and get some young talent, in which case the Warriors might be a good option because the Warriors have the most young talent to offer out of these teams we're looking at. The Dallas Mavericks do not necessarily have a lot of guys they can throw out there, and the Dallas Mavericks are not going to trade Kyrie Irving or something like that. The Phoenix Suns have little to no talent, young talent really, to offer. The Heat would need to get a big name star, and now, like I said, a Bradley Beal comes to mind if that trade is good. So a Beal for Butler trade makes sense to me. If it's the Warriors, I think that could make sense. If they would have to give up some of their young players and definitely a first round draft pick and some twos in order to get that done. So it's not outside the realm of possibility. Now, if you're wondering, as a Laker fan, do I think the Lakers have a chance of getting Jimmy Butler? The answer is hell no. They
Oh
don't.
man, why are you bringing your team into this conversation?
Because
He's
it's
not.
gonna come
That's
up
not even
whether
on their list.
it's not, but it's gonna come up no matter what. It's the Lakers, man. Anytime somebody's available, the Lakers are always brought up for some unknown reason. The Lakers don't have a chance because we don't have any draft capital. Or we do. We have three first round draft picks, but other than that, unless we're willing to trade Reeves, Max Christie, Rui Hachimura, some of our better younger players away for a 1 year try with old LeBron and Jimmy Butler, and then completely gut our youth for the next 5 years, it's not gonna work.
It's not, dude. The fact that you even brought your team into that list when they're not even on the list is.
No. I mean, a Laker.
They're not gonna do it.
It's
LeBron can't play with Jimmy Butler.
It's not
He
gonna
cannot
happen.
play with Jimmy Butler. There's no way that would even happen.
Yeah, it's
I don't think the Suns are going to do it because you brought up Bradley Beal. That's like another Terry Rozier. They don't need another Terry Rozier. I think it's going to come down to the Mavericks and the Warriors here. The Mavericks, only because of the fact that they're a top 4 team in the West right now. Adding Jimmy Butler to that team may put him into one of the, no one's catching the Oklahoma City Thunder at this point.
Not really.
The Thunder have won, we talked about it. They have won 15 games in a row. They are separating themselves so far from each other. It's not even funny. So you're looking at either 2, 3, or 4, right? And Jimmy Butler helps you stay in that realm with how heavy the West moves here. So something tells me Mark Cuban is going to do something wild, that he's probably just going to send draft picks, keep everybody, add Jimmy Butler, and then, who knows what happens after that. I do like the Warriors being in that conversation, but a game like tonight where they're down more than under about 30 points to your Northern California rivals sucks even more. So I think it's ended up going to be Miami, or not Miami, Dallas. I think it's going to be Dallas that ends up getting them.
I sure hope not, man. They're over there loading up like they're about to do something. We'll see how that works out.
I hope they lose in the playoffs and don't get back to the finals. That's what I hope for.
Hey, that very well could happen. Yeah, as the season goes on, man, and injuries start happening, things you never know where you're gonna be. But very interesting, and I think it does shake up things a bit with a big name player out there who can really turn the table. I'll be interested to see Draymond and Jimmy Butler getting their first fight if they do join the team. I think that.
God, I would love that. That'd be a good fight between those two. I'd be all for it. Let them fight.
Absolutely. And while we're on basketball, just a kind of honorable mention to Derrick Rose, who is having his jersey retired. Derrick Rose is a phenomenal guard for all the young kids who maybe didn't get a chance to see Derrick Rose play. When he was in his prime, he was an MVP of the league. Unfortunately,
youngest MVP in the league.
He was an extremely athletic guard that can get around anybody, had the speed, quickness, and upward mobility. He was Ja Morant on steroids, basically. And I know people look at Ja Morant and they go, oh, whoa, no, Derrick Rose was better than that. He could also play on the defensive end of the ball. He was a leader of his team, who was mainly was a pretty good group of veterans at the time. I believe they had Joakim Noah,
Carlos Boozer, Luol Deng.
There you go. So they had a nice little squad. They put wasn't your GM on that team? He was on that team.
Mike Dunleavy? Yeah, he was.
Team.
He was.
Yeah,
yes,
Mike
he
Dunleavy
was
also on that team.
Still sucked.
Yeah, he did. It was a good time. Now, of course, unfortunately, you had the buzzsaw of the Cavaliers around that time too. That was before then. You had the Boston Celtics. The big three Boston Celtics.
That was the Miami Heat era.
Miami Heat. Excuse me. Thank you. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm getting old. So you had the Heatles were also in that same era, which kind of took some of the heat out of the sails of that team. But other than that, they had a pretty good team. What was that? I remember Heinrich was on that team too.
Luke Heinrich was also. He was their 3-point specialist there. Yeah, for all you YouTube people, once you're done watching this show, type in Derrick Rose highlights. Yeah. You watch them 100 times; they never get old. There, the dunk over Steve Nash.
Yeah.
When he jumped over, or when he dunked on
Goran Dragic.
Yeah. Oh my God, Derrick Rose was Derrick Rose was one of those point guards that just a knee. He had one of those career-ending injuries. He did go on to play with the Knicks and the Minnesota Timberwolves, but he just was not the same Derrick Rose from his time in Chicago.
Yeah.
And this is lucrative company that he's going to be joining, because I think the Bulls only have four numbers in the rafters. You got Michael, you have Scotty. I'm trying to think of the third one there.
Who else is up there?
But the Bulls don't just retire numbers to retire numbers. Okay, so when you are being included in that group, you did something special. Not only did he do it for the Bulls, but the city of Chicago. He is a Chicago-born kid that got a chance to play for them. So kudos to Derrick Rose. This is much earned, well deserved here for him. I like what both the Bulls and Knicks did for him.
Yeah.
Wearing one 425 on their jerseys. One for the Bulls, 4 for the Knicks, and then 25 for his high school in Chicago. So good on both organizations to making sure that he was blessed.
Absolutely. Don't go out there and build him a kid's trophy either, please.
No, dude. Well, okay. Look, obviously, I don't think he's getting. Who knows? Do you think he gets a statue at the United Center?
Hell no, because Michael Jordan is everything out there, man. They're not gonna give him a trophy. I mean, they're not gonna give him. He didn't win a championship. They're not gonna give him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But he is Chicago's own, so you never know.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Anything else you got for us, man? I think that might.
Don't watch the college football playoffs. It's boring.
Yeah, that first off, Oregon
top
going
four
out
seeds are out. The top 4 seeds are out.
Didn't make
Jesus
any
Christ.
sense. I sure hope Notre Dame doesn't get anywhere near that championship. It would make me sick to my stomach. But we will see. When the next slate of games next week?
This Thursday. This week. This
upcoming week.
Thursday and Friday. So, dude, that's another thing. College did not plan this schedule out. A Thursday and Friday night bowl game for your to go to the national championship. Way to think that one through, idiots.
You don't have a choice because the NFL is on every other day. What are you gonna do?
Well, now that you've got this long-winded playoff schedule, you might as well just take Saturdays back. Yeah, take that back from the NFL.
You gotta negotiate that, man. I don't know. I mean, maybe they should get on Prime now. Anyway.
Yeah, send the college kids to Prime, man.
That's right. Put college on the Prime Network.
Yeah, exactly. Here, all your NIL deals. Go do yourself a favor and get on Prime.
There you go. Boom. Now you really get paid.
115 to 83. Sacramento beating the brakes off of the Warriors.
Yeah, that's just embarrassing. All right.
New age NBA. Keegan Murray had a wide open layup, decided to just hang out by the 3-point line and shoot it. Missed tremendously. And you wonder why your ratings are down. We didn't even get a chance to talk about that.
Yeah, well, one thing is they need to start dunking the ball. We need to bring dunks back. The three and I don't know. The entire league has decided that it's better to shoot 1,000 threes than 500 twos. So it's just, I don't know.
Does that make sense, T? Low percentage shot is better than a high percentage shot. Who would have thought?
Man. Have you seen a 3-on-2 break lately?
You seen a 2-on-1 break?
Yes, one guy goes to the 3-point line. I don't even bother running the lanes.
Why cut? That sounds so stupid. Why get an easy layup?
All right, guys are literally running to the corners.
Yeah.
It's like running the corners on a fast break. It's like, man, no, that's not how you're supposed to play that. But okay, it's awful. It's terrible.
It's terrible. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it. We will be back we should be back Friday with. Are we doing? I don't know. Are we doing?
Nah, we just did our picks.
No, we're going directly into the playoffs. We're going to be back Sunday, 6:30 Pacific time. We got a slate of games all day Saturday, all day Sunday. It's going to be great. I can't wait for these playoff games. I'm looking forward to any type of upsets that happen because those are always the funnest to watch. And hopefully we'll see some folks sweat this weekend. I want to see a close game. See a close game. Not decided by a field goal, though. Not decided by the field goal, though.
Yeah, the last thing we need is a kicker kicking the field goal.
No, thank you. No.
They've had more misses than my dating app. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, they've been swiping right and left, just not that many.
There ain't no hearts happening for kickers.
All right, Puffs. Well, thanks for joining us. We will see you next Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Peace.